The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.
This is Montgomery Mosaic on 1450 WOL, WPRS HD2, and worldwide on WOLDCnews.com. Montgomery Mosaic features topics of interest to Montgomery County residents, businesses, and visitors. Here now are your hosts, Deborah Milo and Ron Thompson.
Good morning, Montgomery County, and welcome to another edition of Montgomery Mosaic. I'm your host, Deborah Milo. Pablo Picasso once said, "The purpose of art is washing the dust of daily life off our souls." You know, the arts are an integral part of our humanity and our culture and can be a bridge of understanding between communities. Today, I have the distinct privilege of talking with Susan Jenkins, Executive Director of the Arts and Humanities Council of Montgomery County. Hello, Susan, and welcome to Montgomery Mosaic. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Deborah. It's great to be here.
You know, your career has been dedicated to encouraging creativity and scholarly excellence in arts and cultural organizations. Can you share with those listeners who may not be familiar with the council what its mission is really all about?
The Arts and Humanities Council is the designated local arts agency here in Montgomery County. For those of you who aren't quite sure what that is, if you're familiar with the National Endowment gets money from the federal government to provide funds to state arts councils, who then provide funds to local arts councils. So we are like the NEA at a local level. Mm-hmm. The funds that we get from the State Arts Council are matched, and in Montgomery County, they are even greater than we get from the State Arts Council. From Montgomery County, we get about $5 million in taxpayer dollars to support the arts and humanities. It's really a very, very wonderful thing. Montgomery County is the size of some states, and we definitely are very, very honored to receive so much funding from Montgomery County for the arts and humanities.
I didn't know that. That is very significant and very good to hear. You know, the annual Arts and Humanities Awards ceremony is just around the corner. Can you believe that it's October?
I can't.
I mean, I'm still trying to fathom that. And I know that the awards ceremony is going to take place on October the 20th. Tell our listeners about this annual event and why they may want to attend.
Oh, this is a fabulous event. First of all, it is called the County Executives Awards for Excellence in the Arts and Humanities, and it is exactly that. It gives us an opportunity to honor those cultural leaders in the county who make our county a better place to live and work. You know, there are some who wonder about the value of the arts. Mm-hmm. And I say people don't move to communities because they have great parking garages. They move to communities because of the quality of life factors.
Absolutely.
And those recipients of this year's County Executives Awards for Excellence in the Arts and Humanities have made our world a much better place. The recipients are Bonnie Fogel, who is the founder of Imagination Stage. So many of our children have gone to Imagination Stage and have let their creativity blossom through theater and the performing arts at Imagination Stage. Ricardo Loaiza runs the After School Dance Fund, and that has allowed so many children to experience their own cultural heritage and learn about new one through the After School Dance Fund and the work they do. You know, Jeff Struing, wonderful volunteer award, as well as Kenny O'Brien from Musical and Arts Center, Adrian Clancy of Clancy Works Dance, Karine Quiroga, who is a wonderful South African performing visual artist who is a wonderful teacher also, Paul Ross from Maryland Youth Ballet. Really a wonderful, and posthumously the county executive will be recognizing Richard Jaggi, who was the founder of the Gandhi Brigade, who unfortunately passed away suddenly this May. Right. And so we have such a wide breadth of recipients who have all done so many wonderful things to enhance the quality of life factors in Montgomery County, not to mention that the work they do really does bolster economic development. So it's a win-win. And So we'll honor those recipients, as well as we'll have several musical performances scattered throughout the evening. I don't want to give too much away, but it's always fun. And here's the best part. It is free and open to the public.
Did you hear that, listeners? It's free and open to the public. I can't think of a more worthy way to spend your time, needless to say.
And it's a neat evening. It's 90 minutes long, followed by a wonderful free reception.
Oh.
And so you come, you enjoy, you fet your colleagues, you have something to eat and drink, and you can still get home in time for that game.
You know, I've had an opportunity to volunteer for the event the first time last year, and let me tell you, the quality of that event is unsurpassed. It really was quite wonderful. This is Montgomery Mosaic, and I'm your host, Deborah Milo, and I'm talking to Susan Jenkins, Executive Director of the Arts and Humanities Council of Montgomery County. Susan and I were talking about the upcoming award ceremony. It's going to be held on October the 20th. And Susan, would you mind giving the website to our listeners so that they know what to visit?
Yes. If your listeners would like to go to www.creativemoco, creativemoco.com, when you click on our website, you can get immediately to the site that lets you learn more about the awards and awardees and also get tickets. As I mentioned, the event is free and open to the public, but we do need tickets so that we can make sure that we don't exceed capacity in the Cultural Arts Center.
Absolutely. I know that this event is very important to the county executive and his wife, Catherine. How have they been instrumental in promoting the arts in Montgomery County?
Well, they have been complete cultural leaders. You know, the National Association for Governors talks often about the need to incorporate the arts in the everyday business of states and local government. And I'd say that Ike and Catherine Leggett really do walk the walk and talk the talk. Mm-hmm. They do it all. They are extremely engaged in the arts. County executive completely understands the role of the arts in economic development and in creative placemaking. His lovely wife, Catherine Leggett, is the chair of the Maryland State Public Arts Commission, and so she understands the role of public art in creative placemaking from the state's perspective. They are actively endorse recommendations that we come forward with as far as increases in budget, as far as making adjustments to the budget and recognizing the need and demand. After the economic downturn, they quickly helped us recover the budget by hearing about what the needs of the organizations. And just recently, the county executive appropriated a new capital improvement project budget plan to allow organizations to rebuild after the economic downturn, when funds were decreased just because we had a lower tax base and everyone suffered during the economic downturn. Many organizations were unable to maintain their facilities in the same way they would have liked to because they had to put whatever resources they had into staffing and programming. But now that we are on this small uptick, we are able now to provide some funds for those organizations to invest in their capital projects to allow them to have the kind of facilities that welcome the demand, the audience demand for their services. And so they really do understand it at a very, very deep level. And I couldn't be more proud to serve in that capacity because we have a local government, not to mention the county council, who is extremely, extremely, extremely important in this equation. We serve under the direction of the HHS committee that's chaired by Council Member George Leventhal, and George is also a visionary for the arts and humanities. We have Council President Rice on that committee, who is we've laughed with him and said he's the poster child for the arts. When we talk to him, he is extremely knowledgeable about the importance of the arts, as well as Councilmember Navarro. And we're working with her to try to redevelop the Arts and Entertainment District in Wheaton. So we come with a plethora of support, both from the county executive side and the county council side. And together, the trifecta of us, the Arts and Humanities Council, the county council, and the county executive, I think we really do form a wonderful base to try to elevate and to provide more opportunities for the arts and humanities in Montgomery County. It's a wonderful place from my perspective.
I think that's so well said, because it's refreshing to have the support of the actual leadership base of the county.
Absolutely.
To be able to push this initiative forward. I mean, let's be honest about it. Arts are something we cannot and should not live without.
Absolutely.
In June, Montgomery County announced the selection of the Silver Spring Theater Consortium to assume management of the Black Box Theater in Silver Spring. Roundhouse Theater, after 10 years of successful management, I understand that they decided not to renew their lease. Can you tell us about the new consortium and what we can expect?
Well, it's a really wonderful group of organizations that had already been working in the Black Box Theater. So we've got Lumina Theater, we've got Live Gara Theater, we've got Forum Theater, and Artstream, who will all be doing great work.
Okay, that's good to hear. And when we come back, we'll chat more with Susan Jenkins. She's actually the Chief Executive Officer of the Arts and Humanities Council of Montgomery County. So we'll be back with you in just a moment. Okay, Susan, I wanted to ask you one more question before we actually go to break. Talk a little bit more about how the selection of the Silver Spring Theater Consortium is going to assume the responsibility and management of Black Box.
Well, as I mentioned, these theaters, Lumina, Live Gara, Forum, Artstream, had already been working long and hard in the Black Box Theater. And so they'll be continuing their work while managing the Black Box themselves. The county has appropriated some funding for the management, and together they'll be able to do great things there.
Okay, sounds good. When we come back, we'll chat more with Susan Jenkins, so stay tuned.
News updates on the web at WOLDCnews.com.
Good morning. This WL Traffic Update is brought to you by the Foundation for a Better Life. It's a taxi cab rally leaving Potomac Park, heading to Freedom Plaza. So watch out for some activity across the National Mall if you're driving through there right now, up 14th Street to Pennsylvania Avenue, and a lot of activity there. Around the Beltway, the inner loop's getting better and the outer loop approaching 450, where all of that accident activity and delays has eased up. Winston Churchill's words stirred his country in the face of defeat. Today they inspire us to reach for our own victories. Commitment, pass it on, from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. Now your WOL weather forecast brought to you by Rack Room Shoes. For today, mostly sunny, highs in mid to upper 70s. For tonight, mostly clear, down to 51. Tomorrow, mostly sunny day and highs in the low 70s. On October 17th, come check out the great deals at the new Rack Room Shoes in the new Springfield Town Center. You can win free shoes for a year for your family. Steve Hirschhorn for News Talk 1450 WOL, where information is power.
1450 WOL.
Welcome back to Montgomery Mosaic. I'm Deborah Milo here with Susan Jenkins of the Arts and Humanities Council of Montgomery County. Before we took a break, we were actually talking about the new consortium, Silver Spring Theater Consortium, to assume the management of the Black Box Theater in Silver Spring. Susan, can you talk a little bit more about that, please?
Well, I think that across the country, my colleagues and I see that there are new models being put together as far as theater management is concerned. And so having the stakeholders have direct management of the theater and having the stakeholders have a direct say in the way that the theater is managed, I think is really crucial. So we'll see these theaters working together, scheduling the theater together. And so if you've ever seen any of these theaters work, you know that it is not kind of the old-fashioned traditional model of community theater, quote unquote.
Right.
It's highly sophisticated, high production value, excellent scripts and excellent works are chosen to be performed. And so when you put that together with these professional theaters who are able then to manage the time and the elements that go into the production themselves, it gives great depth and value to the production. And I think that as we look at new models that are developing across the country, this is an interesting model that we're watching because it could be a new paradigm for other theaters to adopt.
And just a couple of days ago, I know the Arts and Humanities Council announced its Roundup for the Visual Arts program. What can you tell us about that program?
Well, we are beyond thrilled about that program. It's a concept that I came up with a couple of years ago, and it's a simple concept. If you are a customer at a store that supports the work that we do, the work that you do as a visual artist, or the work that you do as an artist, it allows you to go, and as the customer is finalizing their purchase, the staff asks them if they'd like to round up their purchase for the arts. We're excited, thrilled beyond imagination that Plaza Artist Materials looked at our proposal, understood it completely, that this is a great public-private partnership that allows them to reach into their customer base to give something back, and allows their customer base to support the arts in a very positive way. And so we approached Eric Zelenko, who's the president of Plaza Artist Materials, this spring, talked to him about our concept. He brought in his marketing manager, Mike Sorak. Between the two of them, they fell head over heels with the concept. They adopted the concept. We rolled it out on the beginning of Arts and Humanities Month. Arts and Humanities Month is October through a presidential proclamation. And now in all 3 of Montgomery County-based Plaza Artist Material stores, when a customer visits the store, when they're finishing their purchase, they're asked if they'd like to round up to the nearest dollar for the arts, and every bit of those funds that we get will be rolled into our grants program to allow us to augment our grants to individual visual artists so that we are able to now meet the growing demand that we see of individual artists and scholars in that category. And so we're really excited. It'll pair up with funds that we get from the county, and so it'll help make that funding even more robust for visual artists.
I love it when it's matching funds. I really do.
Yeah,
I love to hear that.
It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah. If you've just tuned in, this is Montgomery Mosaic with Deborah Milo talking with Susan Jenkins of the Arts and Humanities Council of Montgomery County. Another program Susan recently launched is Culture Spot MC. What's this all about?
Well, it's actually not a program, Deborah, but it is a live cultural calendar. So if you're within the sound of our voices and you want to go to culturespotmc.com, you'll see that it's a cultural calendar that looks fabulous on your personal device. So no matter what device you're using, it's great on your mobile phone. And if you want to know where to take that special date, or you want to know where to take your in-laws, or you want to figure out what your family's going to do next weekend, you just go to culturespotmc.com and you look on the various different offerings. Montgomery County has over 450 arts and humanities organizations and close to 2,000 individual artists and scholars. And so the offerings through culturespotmc.com are enormous. And no matter what you have an appetite to do, I'm sure you can have that appetite met through looking at the offerings on Culturespot MC. And again, it's free and open to the public.
So you know that as soon as we finish our show, I'm going to go check out culturespotmc.com.
I hope so.
Calendar,
I hope all of you that are listening to us will be doing that too.
Absolutely. Power to Give is a funding program for the Arts and Humanities Council. Share a little bit about how this works.
Power to Give is a wonderful crowdfunding, crowdsourcing platform that we license from my colleagues at the Arts and Science Council of Charlotte-Mecklenburg. A few years ago, I attended a leadership forum at Aspen, at the Aspen Institute, and my colleague developed it It is very much like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, others that you see. But the wonderful thing about it is that it is highly differs in this way. It's built for nonprofit donations. So if you give to powertogive.com, .org, you give directly to a nonprofit, and your funding then is a tax-deductible donation. Organizations post their project on the website, and then the organizations also market to their audience, and we help them so that they can get the kind of crowdfunding, they can get projects met through this crowdfunding tool. The other difference between other crowdsourcing tools is that even if an organization doesn't meet its goal, and an organization could post a project that's valued up to about $10,000, they still get the funding. All they have to do is go back to the donor and say, you know what, we fell a little short of our goal, but we have some other funding that came in that can help us meet our goal. We're going to use this for the purpose that you intended it, and here's your tax-deductible statement. And so it allows organizations to grow their audience and their donor base by getting very small donations of $5 or $10 and able to fund a project that's valued up to about $10,000. And so what we're finding is that about 50% of the donors that are coming in through this portal are new to an organization. So these are people who want to give to your project, care about the fact that you're the Audubon Society or Create Arts or American Dance Institute or any of our many, many organizations, love the project, want to fund it, but perhaps they only have about $25 to give. But it takes a village, as they say,
Absolutely.
and this allows the village to support artists and the work they do, and arts organizations and the work they do in a very, very simple, easy, and 2 or 3 click manner.
Wow. And it's just as simple to give, and they don't have to worry about it, and they can just, like you said, click to give.
Right, and they get their tax statement right there,
Absolutely.
and life is good.
Life is good. You're listening to Montgomery Mosaic with Deborah Milo, and my guest today is Susan Jenkins of the Arts and Humanities Council of Montgomery County. I know we're approaching the holidays, elections, inaugurations. I'm telling you, sometimes it's just so hard to keep up with all that's going on. And I know that we're approaching the county's premier arts event, the 29th Annual County Executives Ball, which is going to benefit the arts and humanities. Can you tell us a little bit about what's planned for this year and why this annual event is so important to the cultural arts of Montgomery County?
Well, this event is a critical piece of funding that comes in for the arts and humanities in Montgomery County. Last year, this event raised about $150,000 that also augments the funds that we get from the county. And so when people buy tables and seats at the Executives Ball, they not only get a great meal and see a wonderful set of performances, but they also are able to do well by doing good, right?
Exactly.
So you have a great time. It's a great networking event. The arts are up front and center there. The county executive and Mrs. Leggett host the event. You're able to meet many, many elected officials who come to the event, and it's just a great, feel-good, wonderful evening that celebrates the arts and humanities at its highest level.
And you have a great time. I've had the opportunity to attend on several years and volunteer even, and I must say, it is a great time. And I love the fact that you get an opportunity to be creative in what you wear.
Absolutely. Creative black tie is a very important piece. And although this event is not free, it is open to the public,
Yes.
and just know that the funds that you give in through your ticket purchase and table buys all goes to support the arts and humanities. And the great thing is that, again, in his vision and wisdom, the county executive set up a matching fund 2 years ago, and so now all the funds that are raised through the executives ball are matched dollar for dollar through the matching funds. And so last year they raised $150,000. We have a matching fund that matched that $150,000, and so then we were able to infuse the community with $300,000 of new money.
That's wonderful. Susan, it has been such a pleasure having you here today. You've shared so much information with us about the Arts and Humanities Council, and I don't think that the community really knows just how much of a positive and significant impact the council has.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you very much.
Well, unfortunately, folks, that's all we have time for today. I'd really like to thank my guest, Susan Jenkins, of the Arts and Humanities Council of Montgomery County, where she's the Chief Executive Officer. And thanks to you, our listeners, for sharing your day with us. Susan, is there anything else that you want to say?
Well, I just want to encourage people to go to Power to Give and take a look at the great projects that are on there. They are also matched, to come out to the County Executives Awards and to make sure to buy your ticket to the ball early, because you don't want to be left behind.
Absolutely. Thanks again, listeners, for sharing your day with us. Tune in again next month at the same time for another Montgomery Mosaic on 1450 WOL, WPRS HD2, and worldwide on WOLDCnews.com. Till next time, live inspired. Make it a great day.
Thank you, Deborah.
You've been listening to Montgomery Mosaic, featuring topics of interest to Montgomery County residents, businesses, and visitors. For more information or a copy of the show, email public information at montgomerycountymd.gov or call 240-777-6507. Be sure to tune in at this time every month on the third Wednesday for Montgomery Mosaic on 1450 WOL, WPRS HD2, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.